There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Codex Station's Comic Character of the Week. I'm your host tonight, Sal the Slab Guy. Joining me, as always, is Dan the Kelly Art, and down below, holding up the pillars of the station, is Uncle Gary. We're in the pre-show tonight, right now, so we're just going to be chatting it up, doing some sports talk because Pam's probably going to be here soon. We're going to talk about some sports.
This is the night of the NFL. I know Pam is watching.
Of course,
watching sports. So Pam's watching her beloved Cowboys.
Oh yeah. Jamie's not feeling well today. He's under the weather, so he will not be joining us. But not to worry, he has his picks in for readings and top cover, so I will be showing those later as usual. So,
all right,
what's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing good. All right. Happy to see the season open.
Yes.
Even if it is two teams I hate, but one I hate more than the other. So there you go. There you go.
Like me watching the Browns or the Steelers play. I don't like either team, but I guess if I have to pick, then I would want the Browns to beat the Steelers. Unless it's some record thing late in the season, I need this team to win as opposed to this one. So,
well, right. Yeah. That's the only time I'll ever root for Dallas is when it comes into I need them for some kind of playoff consideration.
Yeah.
So.
I'm like that with the Penguins. Oh yeah, man, show off those. Those are pretty awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Let me get your big screen.
Oh, and he did the little symbol too. Awesome.
That's what you asked for.
Thank you. Well, I didn't. Well, you said you didn't know if he would do that or not. So.
Yeah. Well, it's not the greatest, but it's okay. Yeah.
Hey, it looks great. It looks cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's something, I'm sure most people don't ask for that, so it'd be something unique.
He does not like signing on the S. He'll do it when people ask, but he does not like signing on the S. He feels it's almost sacrilegious.
Yeah, well, it's like doing a celebration on a sports team doing a celebration on the logo of another team. It's,
So he took a screenshot. Yeah, I agree. He took a screenshot of your info and Codex's info, Dan, and supposedly he will be contacting us.
It's not him. It's his wife. Emailed me yesterday, so I told her that. Yeah, said that she sets the interviews up for him. Said that he prefers to do them after 9:00 so they can still do the whole bedtime routine with their kid. And said the best date would be. Let me
bring me 4 fried chickens and a Coke.
You want chicken legs or chicken wings? Said between October 1st and Wednesday, October 1st and Tuesday, October 7th. So I told her, I was like, well, I know. What's up, Liz?
Hey, Liz.
Gary,
how you feeling, Liz?
I said, I know Gary wants to do the interview too, so I would check with you on which of those days would work best for you.
Good. Yeah, he said he was contacting her immediately, and evidently he did. So that's great. So you're in contact now. You're in, right?
Yeah. So I just need to know which one of those days works best for you.
All right, I will get to you. So between Wednesday, October 1st, and
October 7th, which would be I think.
Okay.
So obviously when Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights are out because we do the live shows.
Yes. And Saturday might be. Yeah.
Good. Glad you're feeling good, Liz.
Well, I guess if he wants to do it after 9, I guess we could do it Saturday, it Saturday at 9, because his wife said that they generally he likes to keep them about an hour. So I guess we could do it Saturday and then.
We could. We could. Yeah, he may even come here for bringing his son here. We're talking about the end of September. That may happen. So that would be cool. So because Philip has been here, but for a tour. But
is he local? Does he live in this area?
He lives in Maryland.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's in Maryland.
Yeah.
He is in Maryland. And so just for Liz and the other Codex people we have here, there will be a giveaway in a month coming up. Just a preview. There'll be an Incredible Hulk
Nice.
signed by Philip Kennedy Johnson. That'll be a giveaway. And then
That's cool.
either maybe this one, I've got to figure out, maybe this one, be 2 or 3 of these. Maybe this one, Batman and Robin. Not the one that says to my friend Gary with thanks. Sorry, not that one.
I told my wife that he lives local. She go, "Oh, that's cool."
To Gary, Truth and Justice. And she said, what?
I told my wife that he lives local. She's like, "Where local?" I was like, "In the DMV area." I was like, "Man," I said, "It's Maryland or DC. I'm not sure exactly what." She goes, "Oh, well, you should just go over there." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. Let me just call him up. Be like, hey, Philip Kennedy Johnson, can I come? You know, let me just invite myself over his house
to your house." There's that one. Yep. So, and this one, maybe we could give this away to Sal the Slab Guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you go.
Well, I did give Sal that. I did give Sal all that stuff today.
Yep.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, Gare. Thank you, Dan, for transporting all that.
Yes.
You're welcome. So we got some giveaways there for Codex folks. So that'll be in probably not September, but maybe October. So
right. Yep. I think that's going to be October as our next slated giveaway.
So that's just a fine.
But I'll leave it.
He's got stuff for September. He's got the stuff for
September. We already have something for September.
Right. Yeah, right.
So anyway,
so I'll leave that up to Jamie.
Well, you know what? If we're doing the interview in October, then that's a good giveaway in October since we're having him as an interview.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the Hulk. Yeah, that Hulk book is really good. That last issue was so good. Or the issue right before this last one. Oh, so good.
The standalone with the kid.
Yeah, I've not read House of L yet. I'll look forward to it. Heard this week's JSA was really good. Haven't read that. But have any of you guys read Detective 1100 yet? Damn it.
Yeah, I read it.
Okay. Did you read it, Sal?
Yes.
Yeah, the story was good, which when you were talking about Ace the Bat Hound, I was like, oh man, one of the super pets. Like, I'm not a fan, generally of them, but I read it and I'm like, all right, yeah, he's right. This was really good.
That is my favorite.
The whole issue,
my favorite. Yeah, I thought so too. That is my favorite Batman story of the year by far.
Yeah,
it reminds me.
I love Dark Patterns.
No, go ahead.
I said I love Dark Patterns. That's been a really good book, but just that single story was so good. No words, no thought balloons, sign language, but and Ace the Bat Hound put to work, right? Ace was working. Ace was working, had a job to do.
It reminded me a little bit of another short Batman story. I think it was recent, but I can't remember what book it was, where there was like a little kid that was like in his elementary school and was trying to, and thought there was something fishy going on, was trying to solve this crime that he thought, I think it was like a supervillain or something that was there, and Batman ended up coming in and helping him, and it was the orphanage, and it was the one that Wayne owns, and the kid found that like all this stuff that needed to be improved in there, and so like I feel like it was recent, or at least I read it somewhat recently, but I gotta find what issue it was because it kind of
vaguely familiar. Yeah,
like it really kind of reminded me of that. And it would have had to have been. It was either a single issue standalone, or it was like one of those where it was a short story and kind of a book that had a few of them. I want to say it was a standalone issue.
It might be. But I was just blown away when I read that story, and I loved it. I mean, that's in the running for my comic of the year. I love that story so much.
Yeah, it was good. And
it had all the feels. It had all the feels. Had a kid.
Sign language was good.
Yeah, and the art was good. The feel was good. The Batman doesn't always have to be beating up supervillains.
Yeah. I love the one scene at the end with the poster. And
it shows that Ace has had a mission that he's been doing pretty well in.
And so Mikkel Janin, I think Mikkel Janin was the one that did the art in it. His Batman
really
stuff
good.
is fantastic.
Yeah, it was really good. And Sal, you loved it too, buddy?
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
For somebody, anybody that owns a pooch, I don't know how you can't love this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
It does
You're
bring
up
you all
there.
the feels.
yeah. It doesn't have to be
The
a
only
pooch. It can be
story
a-
I didn't really care for too much, and it was the Bill Sienkiewicz one that was at the end. As I'm reading that, like I don't know. I was like,
Yeah.
that one didn't really do it for me, but all the other ones in that issue were good.
Yeah, it was a good issue, but that first story was just blew me away with how good it was. So I
Yeah.
loved it. I was very,
And I, lo-
very
and I love the other story where the guy's sitting there is like, "Oh, and you think writing a check is going to be good enough?" And he goes, "Well, it was a really big check."
yeah, it was a really big check.
It was a really big check. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys want to get some business out of the way before we kick off the show?
Sure.
Let's get some
7-7.
business out of the way. 7-7. There we go. There you go, Pam. If you're listening.
I saw some report that said the Eagles pushed hard to trade for Micah Parsons, but Dallas refused. I'm like, yeah, shocker that Dallas refused to trade their star pass rusher to a division rival, also that's the reigning Super Bowl champion. Color me shocked that that even Jerry Jones, as batshit crazy as he is, figured out that was not a good idea.
Yeah, that's so true.
And then I
Sometimes
saw
I think they do headlines for just for the clicks, you know.
And then I saw Amari Cooper just announce his retirement today.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, which kind of made me chuckle. I was like, dude, just signed a 1-year, $5 million deal to go back to the Raiders. I'm sure there were a bunch of people that drafted him in their fantasy leagues.
I was getting ready to say that's not good, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
folks, let's go ahead and do some business before we kick this show off. Once again, I'm your host, Sal the Slab Guy. When I'm not on Codex, check me out on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner or under Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. Do that, and then after you've done that, check out this guy over here, Dan DeKelly Art. Tell him what you got going on, buddy.
Yeah, check me out on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. I post art regularly, like this.
That's
Black
awesome.
Knight drawing.
I'm liking that, dude. I'm liking that one.
Thank you. So I post that stuff a few times a week. Almost all of it is available everything's available for purchase, except for the rare time that something is spoken for. So go on there and buy some stuff and get yourself a commission or, whatever. Just find a way to give me money.
There you go.
And then under here, the one, the only, the curator of the Library of Comics that owns every issue of Swamp Thing 9 that was ever printed.
Ever.
Evidently, our little short is doing well on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, evidently it's got some views, so that's pretty fun. So, I'm working on getting.
He has more Swamp Thing 9s than I do have Venom books.
Yep. And Sal, you do have the Swamp Thing 9, right?
I do, and I have it graded at a 9.6, my friend.
That's right. You have one higher than my 9.4. That's right.
Yep.
But you don't have 14 of them, you Bama.
I do not. I do not.
You don't have
I do have one or two Venom books, though.
You don't have it signed by Bernie.
Well, right, signed by Bernie, but like we said on the thing, I have the one of one, my friend. I have the artist proof.
The artist proof, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Baltimore's coming up. There'll always be a chance to find a graded one higher than 9.4.
Well, that is true, but the artist proof is one of one. I don't have to compete with anybody, anywhere, anytime, anyhow.
No, you do not.
I think the only thing that trumps that is the original Swamp Thing 9 cover.
Is the cover, yeah. Is the original
hand-drawn cover by Bernie. I don't know who has that, but damn well that's in one expensive piece of art.
Yep.
To
Gary's
have
just gonna hunt you down.
And damn well that whoever owns it has a picture of you cover this says, "Do
you're not dealing with this guy?"
Away.
Yeah. Well, for that Bernie Wrightson edition, the artist edition I have, the big book, that book is scanned. So, we got to fight now. We got to fight now between them. All right. That book was scanned for that. So, so whoever has it, they know who has it. So, yeah, I just want to look at it for a while.
He's like,
I'll look at it for a while for the rest of my life.
But in the meantime, that artist proof.
I want to smell it.
Well, the other thing that's cool is here. This is my favorite book of all time. And
Yeah.
my favorite cover of all time. And I'm actually lucky enough to own the artist proof of my favorite cover of all time. That's pretty awesome. So
It is pretty
shout out to Damian Hill, Warthog Comics, for making that happen for me. My
Good
personal dealer. Good man. We've all bought books from Damian at this.
We have.
The three of us have all bought books from Damian. Great dude.
Yes.
So anyway.
Yeah, in fact, I was just telling John at the shop today, the GI Joe 1 for sale up there for $150, and I was telling him, like, yeah, one of my goals for the year was to get after I years ago had to sell my GI Joe collection because I needed money at the time, and now and those were ones that I was buying off the shelf as they were coming out. Now I'm rebuilding it, and I was like, one of my goals for the year was to get the first 100 issues, and I was like, I think I'm about 10 or so away. I'm pretty close. Like, I got number 1 here. I'm like, no, I already got number 1. I said, I got it last year at Baltimore for a great price.
Yeah.
From Damian.
There you go.
Yep. And that's the man.
There you go.
That is the man. All right. Speaking of Mighty Mike Harbor, that I was just talking to on text, Comic Logic. You can see me there. You can see him there. You see Rob Kalin, our principal owner, slinging books every Wednesday. Getting books in. I've told you once, twice, 1,000 times, reading comics make you strong, baby, because you start out lifting just one book. Then you start out lifting a stack. Then it's a short box. Then it's a long box. Then you stack them all the way to the ceiling, all the way over here. Next thing you know, you are jacked and you are packed, baby. Reading comics make you strong. Also do some push-ups. They help. That's right. So
that's right.
Comic Logic. Wednesday, we had Philip Kennedy Johnson in shop. If you missed that, I'm sorry you missed that. But you can come to Comic Logic for an event next month on Sunday, October 26th. We will have our fall lot con where we will turn our parking lot into a mini Comic Con. There'll be comics. There'll be toys. There'll be local artists, local authors. There'll be jewelry. There'll be, we might even have the tarot card lady making readings there. But we should also have the tattoo artists there. Mighty Mike got the sigil for the House of Slaughter on their last one, so you can get a tattoo. You can get comics and tattooed up. You can't get that just anywhere. So come to Comic Logic.
We'll have a table set up, selling his bottles of his famous marinara sauce, and we'll also be doing foot rubs as well.
That's
wow,
right.
Marinara and foot rub.
Buy 2 subs, get the foot rub for free.
Wow. I don't know how anybody can stay away from that. That is that is quality all the way around. So there you go. So anyway, come check us out there. Also, check out the Comic Character of the Day site founded by Archduke Kevy, run by that fella up there, Dan Kelly now. Great random panel of the day. Great character of the day.
How about you?
Talking Geek supplying the cover. The other day.
Yeah.
The romance cover. Now, Sonny evidently found that, but a woman that was going to have to give up Dick, and it was that. I mean, it was epic. That was an epic one. So I love that Dan has no fear. He will show those panels of the day. Come hell or high water. Consequences.
There's a few coming up that are
saucy.
That are pretty good.
The more salacious, the better. So very good. So thank Archduke Kevy for that. So that's me. We've done our little triangle of business. So back to the.
I would like to put it out there too that after spending $40 last night, I did not win the Mega Millions. So I remain a broke loser. So
did anybody
win it? Yeah, I don't know.
Or is this?
I don't think so. So I guess on the next drawing is what, Saturday, I think. So I guess Saturday. I'll be throwing a few dollars more away then.
Let me see.
Somebody in Virginia won
it's at 1.7
billion.
It's at 1.7 billion.
Somebody in Virginia won $1 million the other day, and we had about $20 worth. And I asked the redhead if she checked ours, or I don't know where in Virginia the $1 million prize was. But with that kind of money, I could pick everyone that I'm close to and give them $1 million and just life-changing money, right? Give everybody $1 million. And then what? You give everybody $1 million, and then you say the bank is closed. There's your million. Whatever you do, you do. But there you go.
That's it.
That's
Oh
it.
yeah,
We're still
I'd
friends.
already-
We're still friends, but that's the transaction we'll do. Will be that $1 million, and then there you go. I think that's fair, right?
That's very
like,
fair.
Like the bank's closed. If you want any more, you gotta send your wife and a bottle of vodka over for the night.
Oh my goodness, that
No, I already saw. I was like, if I won as like close friends and family, just like that. I'll be like, Oprah, here's $1 million, here's $1 million, and it's not going to be a check or something. It's just going to be like
Cash.
Here's a briefcase full of cash for you. Here's a briefcase full of cash.
Tax free.
Close friends and family. Yep. We're all taken care of. College fund. Trust college fund set up for Emily. Bunch of money in the bank. It's like all that stuff, and it's like, all right, here's some fun money. Like, it's going to be fun to walk into Baltimore and be like, I can literally buy anything here that I want.
Yeah.
And then, everyone at Codex would find out that I won when I just go rent the private jet, and you just knock at the door, and you open the door. What's up? Like, come on. What do you mean? Like, come on, we're going to Vegas. What do you mean?
Get your ass in the limo.
Work. Be like, nah, screw your work. Here's $1 million. Quit your job. Get in the plane. Next one, you'll be like, going to pick up Jane. We're going to pick up somewhere. Like, come on, get on the plane. It's party time.
You know what? I would. Everybody at Codex would be a millionaire if I hit. So you can count on that, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You know what? I might have to give Chris too, just because he's Chris.
Yeah.
But
I got the Brown Lantern ring from Dan today through Chris.
Okay.
So thank you for that.
Richard got his too. So
yeah,
very
good. Good on you, Dan, for distributing the Brown Lantern rings.
I sent Jamie
with the steamers.
And I sent Jamie the one for him and the one for Sonny.
Nice.
So yeah, next time you're on the show, just ask Sonny if he's gotten it from you. I don't know when that con is that they're going to.
I think it's this weekend.
Is it? Okay.
All right.
I wonder if Jamie has a Sonny related illness because he's going to have to hang out all weekend with Sonny.
He may. There's a shot for that. There's a shot for that.
Well, I guess on the podcast when you guys are like justice for Sonny's beard, I'm like, nah, it should be justice for Sonny's toys.
Well, I was just thinking if I give $1 million to Sonny, I should probably give $2 million to the Action Figure Rehabilitation Fund.
You probably should.
Yeah, probably should.
All right, folks. Like we've mentioned before, head on over to thecodexstation.com. Check it out. You can meet the team, get some merch. There's so much more there. And we also have all the
socials.
Listen,
all people have to do is look at us to know that we are positively, absolutely 100% infected with all the socials. And we would like nothing better than to give them to you, baby. Hit that button.
Oh.
Look, I hit that button so good this week. I actually voted for the comic book community awards. I voted. And I was able to figure it out all by my little self. And there we go.
Right. Somebody printed it out and he filled it out and then they went and did it online.
Yeah, I know. I kept trying, I kept trying to use the number 2 pencil to fill in the whole thing, the hole on the screen. It just didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. Didn't do it, but somehow I got it. I got it done.
Well, thanks for voting.
Man, you need a new iPad. I poked a hole in it again.
Yep, poked a hole in it again. Damn it.
Absolutely. That's funny.
What happened to the paper ballots?
Yep. Go over to the CBC Awards there at cbcawards.org. Find the Codex Station. Go ahead and give us a vote there. We appreciate that. We're nominated in 5 different categories, which is amazing. So pulling home one of those awards would be fantastic.
I took care of Mon Comics. I took care of Richard.
Yes.
Uncanny Derek.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Hagen.
A lot of good people on those awards. Yep. So you're not missing out, folks. If you guys subscribe to them, you're not missing out on a thing. When you got to subscribe to them. So don't miss out on a thing. That's what I should say. You are missing out by not subscribing to this, folks. That's what I was trying to say.
And I got a couple subscribers this week. So see, we're working.
All right.
We're working.
Very good. Very good. All right, guys. Are we ready to kick off this show? Who are we doing tonight? Who are we doing tonight?
Working it like a trailer park single mom on that pole.
Bam. There we are. The Black
Nice.
Knight, ladies and gentlemen. That's awesome.
Oh, you got the Pendragon Black Knight.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Mhm.
All right, folks, stick around. We will see you guys in about a minute.
As long as the black blade blazes darkly in my hand, I must fight on, no matter the cost.
Man, I love that movie. I had my snacks and everything. That was great.
There we go. There we go. And thanks for joining us then tonight, folks. Good night.
It's about a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound. Yeah, some of that music reminded me of Mighty Python too much, but it was the only good medieval music that was free that I could find. So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Codex Station. It's Thursday night. It's Comic Character of the Week night. Tonight we're covering the Black Knight himself. So let me talk about my intro here before we hand the reins over to Dan. From Camelot to the Cosmos, the Black Knight rides. Dane Whitman wields the Ebony Blade, a weapon that cuts anything, including his own soul. He has a cursed legacy and a throne in weird world. This isn't just a knight in armor, ladies and gentlemen. He's a hero walking the razor's edge between valor and darkness. Join us tonight as we unsheath the truth behind the blade, the bloodline, and the battles that forged one of Marvel's deadliest gentleman adventurers. It's the Black Knight. Dan, why don't you go ahead and kick us off and give us the info on him?
Mr. Keith, we're lucky if we remember what we said 2 sentences ago.
That's true. That is so true, Mr. Keith. But glad you joined us now, buddy.
Welcome. All right, so Black Knight, Dane Whitman first appeared in Avengers 47 in December of 1967. He first appeared as the Black Knight in Avengers 48 in January.
Look at that book he's showing.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. I'm pulling again.
Look at that pretty book.
Look at that.
Right there, too.
Got it.
Now, his listed creators are Roy Thomas and John Buscema, but John Buscema, who was the Avengers artist, did not draw the issue that he premiered in.
Nope.
As Roy Thomas told it, Stan Lee had pulled him off the book to go do some special project or something. So it was another artist that did it, and the Black Knight's costume was actually designed by I believe it was an editor that was there named John Verpoorten, if I'm saying it right. So I don't exactly know what part of the creation John Buscema had in it. You know, Roy Thomas is the writer, and this other guy created the costume. But maybe he had input. I don't know. Now, he is based on the original.
George Tuska was the artist of that book.
Yeah. He is based on what's up, Booge?
Hey, Booge. What's going on, buddy?
The original Black Knight that was created by Stan Lee and unfortunately
Joe Maneely.
Yeah, Sir Percy, that had his 5-issue book back in the day. And then there was the Black Knight that was the villain, who was this Black Knight's uncle, who died and passed it on to him. So the suit was already kind of designed. They just kind of, had to edit it a little, make some changes for this character. But, Roy Thomas said he also based it a little bit on a DC character that from the Golden Age that he was a big fan of. If you want to take a guess which character that would be, I'm sure Gary could guess it pretty easy.
I guess Silent Night. I mean, Shining Night.
Yep, Sir Justin.
Mhm.
So origin-wise, Dane Whitman grew up. Everybody, I guess maybe because of his brief appearance in the MCU as Kit Harington, thinks, oh, he's British and he's, the Black Knight. The original one's British and all this, but no, Dane Whitman grew up in Massachusetts, part of a wealthy family where he studied physics and also took fencing. His uncle, Nathan Garrett, operated as the criminal Black Knight after he was mortally wounded in a battle with Iron Man. He fled to his estate. He called Dane Whitman, who was his last living relative, because Whitman's parents had died, called him, summoned him to the estate, and told him the whole story about how, he was the Black Knight and he was a criminal, and he wanted Whitman to, he confesses everything to him, and he gave him his weapons and his suit, his armor, and he begged him to become the new Black Knight so that he could atone for his crimes and restore their family's honor. To which, Dane agreed to, updated the suit some, later found out about about his great ancestor, the first Black Knight, Sir Percy of Scandia, and the line of Black Knights that had gone over the years. As far as his powers, he doesn't necessarily have powers. He's an expert swordsman, a great hand-to-hand fighter, also listed as an expert horseman, which I don't think there's too many comic characters listed like that. He has a master's degree in physics. He's also very skilled in other sciences and technology, such as genetics and engineering. He uses to build his various weapons. He used genetics to make his winged horses. And then he has the Ebony Blade, which was a sword that was carved out of a meteor by Merlin. And the Ebony Blade has, its own powers. It can pretty much only be used by someone that it lets use it. It can absorb and redirect energy. It can cut through almost anything. Anybody that dies while holding it can be brought back to life. And there is the curse where the Ebony Blade, whenever someone is using it, if they draw blood with it, that the Ebony Blade will then crave more blood and crave souls and will start corrupting whoever it is that is using the blade.
Okay. Yep. Very good.
And he can, wherever the sword happens to be, he can, almost like teleportation, can summon the blade to him.
Very cool. Very cool.
When he had all those weapons that his uncle gave him and he was trying them out, that was a Whitman sampler.
Yeah, he didn't have the Ebony Blade at first. His uncle did not use it. His uncle used the slants, which, if you look at the cover on his first appearance, I don't know when you ever seen somebody
hold it like that.
A lance like that.
Yeah,
but
I've never. What was that about? I saw that Tuska cover. What's George drawing him holding the lance there for? I didn't.
I'm assuming because if he held it at the hilt, that it wouldn't, the handle, that it wouldn't get the whole lance on, and that he figured if he showed him holding it pointing forward, that maybe it wouldn't look as good. I don't know.
You think maybe he was choking up because he was going to bunt?
But he has possessed other weapons over the years. He has a that we'll get into, I'm sure. He had an energy sword that he used when he was trying to distance himself from the Ebony Blade. He had, at one point, he was the person that wielded Excalibur. He had, much like the armor that now the figure Gary has, he's holding the Ebony Blade, but when he had that armor, he had a different sword. He had the Sword of Light and the Shield of Night, and the special armor where he was the Pendragon of the modern age. So he's had a lot of other weapons over the years too.
All right, very good, very cool. All right, so let's go ahead then and jump into our next segment, which is scenarios. What works best? What do we like best about him? Uncle Gary, you can go ahead and kick this one off. What do you like best about him?
I like him when I like him as a member of the Avengers. As one of the kind of not necessarily the first one you think of as an Avenger, but a very solid Avenger. But I think I like him better when he's affiliated with one of the British teams, be it Excalibur or the other, or
MI13
or MI13 or things like that. That's where I think he really, the character really makes 100% sense, to use him there. So that's where I like him. I really enjoy the fact that he, there's a lot of conflict there, especially when he's using the ebony blade. That there's just that's that's just a whole lot of that's a whole lot of conflict just between a man and his weapon. Can you imagine if Thor's hammer was corrupting him as he uses it? So it's just here's this great awesome weapon, but it's also something that the hero has to be very, very wary of. So I kind of like that that weapon that bites back. It's handled just a little bit. So I think there's a lot of drama that you can have with those and storylines you can have with that. He's trying to do the noble thing, but he's using a tool that makes him less noble every time he uses it. So I kind of dig that.
Yeah. All right, I'll go next for that. And Excalibur and MI13 are the best things to come from Britain. Yep. That's true. That's true. All right, so Gary,
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls.
Well, let's go. I don't know if y'all are old enough to remember Samantha Fox.
Yeah, I do.
Man, page 3 girl.
No.
3 girl.
So, I do like that you hit a lot of points, Gary, that I'm going to echo here. And but the first one is he's just more than a swordsman. He's a background in the background. He's a scientist. Yep. He's a technician. He's a natural leader. And those are just stuff that I'll hit more on when I talk about my stories later on. But he's not perfect. He's a struggling hero, which I think is the promptu hero thing. And we all like that hero that is always struggling to do better or be better and not be, not fall to the wayside or fall to evil or whatever, what have you may. So I like that struggle. And I like the cursed weapon, the blade, ebony blade, because it's not just a weapon. It's a character in itself, I feel. And him, it just makes it better because, like you said, the curse of the store is making him fall from grace, but he's still fighting back because he wants to clear his family's bloodline or family's name. I literally came from England. There you go.
That was all the toy makers up there that drove you out.
Yep. And I was going to say all the toy makers are rejoicing that you're not there anymore.
Benny Hill too. Sonny just damned the whole island.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I remember Benny Hill. I remember staying up late to watch Benny Hill.
That song, that yakety sax.
Yep. So he's got a lot of leadership and strategy that works well with him as well, and we'll see that more as I talk about my stories. But that's what I like best about him. So how about you, Dan? What do you got?
Yeah, kind of going along with what Gary said. I like when he is on a team. I like when he's the leader of a team too, and you don't really. He's not necessarily one of the first ones you think of as a team leader, but he led the Avengers for a while.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
He was chosen to be the Pendragon of the modern day. He had his own kingdom in Weird World where he was the king, and so he's someone that can lead. But I also like, as you said too, his struggles with the curse of the Ebony Blade, where he's trying to do good and he's trying to be noble, but at the same time he has this, his main weapon is something that is a corrupting force against him, and he's struggling to keep it in check. And if you wonder how strong it is, you see from his second miniseries where he's in Weird World, when Steve Rogers, takes the blade away from him and is instantly corrupted and attacks all the Avengers, and when he gives it to him at the end, he's like, I didn't realize what you were constantly going through with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an ongoing battle every time he's wielding it, All right.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. We're talking about Sonny now. He was chased out. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to badass moments. And Dan, you want to kick us off with badass moments?
Yes. Well, I have several.
All right.
I have 6 of them, so I will give you 3 of them, and then as you guys pick.
Or do you want to go last for that?
I'll drop any that are left. No, I'll go.
Okay, go for it.
So my main one is from Avengers 347. It's at the end of the Operation Galactic Storm, which is a really cool crossover between all the Avengers, which is Avengers West Coast, Quasar, Wonder Man, all of the books. And in the storyline, the Kree Supreme Intelligence, there's this big space war involving him and the Shi'ar and everyone. And it turns out that the Kree Supreme Intelligence was behind it all and wipes out 98% of his own race, the Kree. And he says he does it because the remaining 2% will genetically be stronger, that survived will genetically be stronger and will then build up a stronger Kree race. Well, the Avengers, and it's a big team. It's all, all the Avengers from all these different teams, and reserves and everyone have gone into space and been fighting this war. Well, they're divided at the end on what they should do. Captain America, of course, has, the stance of, we're going to go, we're going to leave it. And then Iron Man kind of leads the other group, is like, no, we can't let this stand. We have to eliminate this. Black Knight is one of the ones that sides with it's Iron Man, Black Knight, Vision, Wonder Man.
Wonder Man, yep.
And a couple others. I can't remember who. I know the other side is Captain America, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, but it's a few of them that go off, and they're going to kill the Kree Supreme Intelligence. So when they make it through, Black Knight is the one that deals the killing blow to him. He's got his energy sword and just jams it straight down into the Kree Supreme Intelligence, wiping it out, since the Supreme Intelligence committed genocide on his own people.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that one was pretty damn badass.
Yes.
In Black Knight issue 2 of his second miniseries, this miniseries, if anybody knows who the Exemplars are, and I think we talked about it when we did the Juggernaut episode.
Mm-hmm.
The Exemplars are all basically Juggernaut's cousins. They're all Juggernaut powered, Juggernaut power level individuals, and they show up and they're fighting, and one of them gets the ebony blade away from him and thinks he's going to kill him, and then tries swinging it at him, and he stops. And Black Knight just goes, kind of says like, yeah, the blade's not going to do any harm to me, and kills Exemplar with it, which kind of led into all the events of that miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
But killed him with it, so imagine killing a Juggernaut level threat. That's pretty
badass.
And then my final one is, as I kind of mentioned before, Heroes for Hire issue 2. It was I believe the second Heroes for Hire series. He was trying to give up being a superhero and was going to work for Rand Industries just as a scientist, and kind of gets called into action where the Lady of the Lake chooses him to be the Pendragon of his age. And she says every age needs one, and she's choosing him because of his ability, his righteousness, his goodness has chosen him. She gives him, and it's, the armor and the figure that he's wearing in that figure there, Gary gives him this mystical armor, gives him a new sword to use, the sword of light, gives him the shield of night.
Mhm.
So he's not using the ebony blade. And again, that's pretty badass when the Lady of the Lake is choosing you to basically be the savior of your age and be the modern day King Arthur.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
I agree with that.
All right, I will go next then, since you didn't actually capture any of mine. Thank goodness.
Well, I have more. Maybe I'll get one of them.
Maybe we'll see. Let's see. Black Knight Volume 2. This is kind of like a generic badass moment for me, but the sword demands blood, but Dane proves his willpower to resist it. That is stronger, and he's walking that line without succumbing to the corruption of the sword, and that in itself, I think, is just pretty badass that he's able to resist that urge from the Curse of the Ebony Blade. That's amazing to me. The second one I got, the King in Black Knight 2021. This is where he's slaying the symbiote dragons. He takes on Null's army with his sword, and the sword's like glowing in its mystical fury, and he just drives the sword right through the head of some of the dragons, the symbiote dragons. He's taking this cosmic event and turning it into a knight's quest almost. I love it, but it was pretty badass to see that. And then my last one I have is standing against Nyx, the goddess of night, stabs the goddess of darkness, just straight up stabs the goddess of darkness, showcasing the blade's power of potential being used in the right hand. That's just a badass moment for me. How about you, Gary? What do you got?
All right. The first one's kind of a generic one, but it's just Dane Whitman. Dane Whitman uses a weapon that endangers him every time he uses it.
That's the same. Yep.
Again, think of Thor with his hammer. That every time he used it, that the hammer could be corrupting him or damaging his
psyche or
who he is as a person and all that, his psyche. So Dane Whitman has this weapon, and it's such an awesome weapon to wield.
Yeah.
That he's he counterbalances do the ends justify the means, and he does it, and it's just man, that's just quite the risk that he takes every time he uses it, but he still does it for the greater good.
And he's just a normal human guy. He's not like Thor, a god.
You're right.
He's just a normal human,
right?
Well, it's funny that you bring that one up, Boosh. We'll touch on that later.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got, Gary?
All right. And then he's also a human with a capacity for love. And in Avengers 375, Cersei voluntarily exiled herself. She had issues she had to work on. And Dane gave up everything to go with her because of his feelings for her. And he followed his heart. So sometimes following your heart and doing what's a really hard thing, it's just takes a lot of courage and a lot of guts. So that's kind of generic too, kind of sappy, but you know what? So am I. So I'll take that. I'll take following your heart for love and doing the right thing even when it's a hard thing. Now this, I did not read the series with Null and all that, but reading about it, this sounded pretty badass to me. So I hope I got the gist of this right. After Null revealed to Dane Whitman that his good heart, that it was not because of his good heart, but because of his capacity to do evil, that the sword chose him. Not because he was a good person it chose him, but because he had the capacity to do evil. And basically the sword was, the sword had other things in mind.
Other plans for him, yeah.
And this information almost broke Dane, but he recovered, took charge of the blade, and slayed Null's dragon.
Yeah.
So so I did not read this, but just reading about it, I thought that sounded pretty bad. That if Null used that knowledge to totally screw with him, and tell him, I know the blade. You know, the blade chose you not because you're good, but because you have the capacity to be bad. And that, you know, that could destroy somebody who is really trying to live a good life and be an honorable and noble person. But he didn't let that happen. Took charge of the blade, told the blade who was in charge, and he used it to kill a dragon.
This
So
could be a dragon. Yep.
I'm all for that.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, cool.
And you put them together, and you got ebony and ivory.
Together in harmony on
I mean, together in harmony on my piano
Yep. There you
keyboard.
go.
So why can't we?
Well, I got a couple other ones that that I had on my Avengers 71 when he defeats Kang. One
Yeah.
of them when Kang wiped out all the Avengers when he got this extra power from the Grandmaster, and then Black Knight's, hey, forget about me, what? And Black Knight knocks him out on his ass, kind of like that. And
Kind of like that.
and it's because Black Knight was not officially an Avenger, he was just helping them out. Yeah, you'll have to ask Chris what that one does.
That's like a bad run to Taco Bell. That's what it does.
And that's
It cuts farts.
and that's what got him invited to the Avengers was defeating Kang.
Yeah.
What was another one?
They'll do it.
In Doctor Strange 68, he had overcome the curse of the Ebony Blade, though of course they have changed that many times over the years.
Yeah.
That is a complicated. You know how you talk about some characters with a complicated origin.
Adam?
Oh my God, the Ebony Blade's origin is very complicated.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah. And then the last one I have is Savage Avengers 14. They show up to recruit him for this mission, and where he's at when they're recruiting him is he had infiltrated a KKK rally, and he just beats up all the KKK members.
Nice.
They got the big burning cross, and he cuts it down, and he just kicks all their asses, and I just like that because who doesn't like seeing the KKK get their asses kicked?
The KKK and Nazis
Yeah.
always deserve whatever ass kicking they get
All day long.
So I appreciate
all day long.
Yeah, I appreciate that the Savage Avengers go to recruit him, and he's like, all right, I just got to finish kicking the ass of all these KKK pieces of garbage.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Yep.
It's a sheet part.
That is pretty badass. Oh, is that all now? Or do you have any more? All right. Very cool. So let's go ahead and move on to our next segment, was what we don't like. And I will go first on this one. It's nothing about him, but the way the writers write him, I think. When he's just written off as the generic sword guy, and they don't bring in any of the mythos or his blade into consideration or the temptation or any of that battle or internal struggle, he kind of fades into the background. And I don't like that. And if they portray him as the overly clean-cut hero, that also doesn't work because he's a flawed individual. He needs those flaws. That's what defines his character. And also when they forget about the scientist role, he's a physicist. If you ignore the brains and the tactical prowess he has, you're wasting half the character, in my opinion. So those are what I don't like, how they don't like it. I have nothing against the character itself, just the way he was written sometimes. And I think, Dan, you're going to allude to this one on this other one in the story, Chris the Emily Blade, how he's written almost off like a buffoon sometimes, and they kept jumping around with that. I'll let you describe that because I think you're going to talk about that. So why don't you go next?
Yeah, so I got a whole list of stuff I don't like, and again, it's not the character that I don't like because I think the Black Knight's a
Awesome
awesome
character.
character. I'm a fan. I'd like to see more of him. It's him being mishandled.
Yep.
So I don't like how they changed the origin of the Ebony Blade in King in Black, where Null's like, oh no, it takes it where it's somebody that is good and is fighting this the corruption from this blade, and it has to be him because he's the only one that is strong enough of will to fight the corruption. That's a cool thing, and it's a cool thing for his show his strength of character, and to change it the way they did, I didn't like that. And he's written with a very inconsistent personality.
Yeah,
me too.
yeah.
I'd like, some writers will write him, and you could see by the way he talks, some of them will write him like he's just a normal superhero character. He's got his eccentricities. Some of them will write him like he's this old school knightly knight, and he's one of the books where they I think it was Savage Avengers, where they offer him all the jewels and stuff to go do this mission, and he turns it down. He says no. He was like, whoever's on the side of righteousness will have my blade. Like, that's not how he talks.
Nah.
He's not a 16th century knight. He's a modern day guy,
Right.
And you could see, the more you read of him, that personality wise, there's not a lot of consistency from book to book. So I don't like that. And yeah, especially, like you said, we were talking about it earlier, the way that he's kind of written now as a buffoon. And I will lay that 100% at the feet of writer Simon Spurrier. He's the one that wrote the King in Black one shot. He's the one that wrote the Black Knight X-Men one shot for the Death of Doctor Strange. He wrote the last Black Knight miniseries, Curse of the Ebony Blade. And yeah, he writes him like he's this buffoon that he, is, mildly competent at best. Like, this guy he was the goddamn leader of the Avengers. He was a king of his own, had his own kingdom. He's not, he fought alongside King Arthur. Like, this is not a guy that's just, oh yeah, he kind of, stumbles his way through, via happenstance. And I don't like the way he's written like that. And like you said, he's a scientist. He's, skilled at technology. When he was giving up the Ebony Blade, he built his own, the Neural Disruptor energy sword.
Mm-hmm.
And then too, the way, he added it to where there's now two current Black Knights. It's him and this long lost daughter that he never knew he had, that just shows up. Now, like, oh, well, we're both going to be the Black Knight. To me, like, it's just stupid. If you want someone new to be the Black Knight, then let him pass the mantle on to them, because it's not like it's unheard of. The Black Knight mantle has been passed down, over the years. So it would make sense that if someone new comes, that he would just pass the mantle. I'd be, I like him, but I'd be fine with that. But the whole, we're both going to do it. Sometimes it's going to be me. Sometimes it's going to be you, is just kind of dumb to me. And there's no real consistency too with his, has his kingdom, with how he's handled from series to series. Like, he's in Weird World and he has his kingdom, and then next time you see him, he's back on Earth, and there's like not really any mention of, well, what happened with all that.
Yeah.
Heroes for Hire, he's given the armor and the new sword and the shield by the Lady of the Lake, and then when you see him later, well, he doesn't have any of that. There was a fake ebony blade, and then he had, then he had that thinking it was the real one. Then he got the real ebony blade, and it just, again, it's the same thing with the personality from writer to writer and series to series. There's not really a lot of consistency with them.
Yeah, they really should talk, like, the next writer should like talk to the previous writer, see what they've done, and kind of channels to like that energy, to keep it consistent. I know, I can understand they want to put their own kind of spin on the character, but when they change it like that so much, I could totally agree with what you're saying.
And at least, like I said, when he's got all of this mystical armor, then he's not using it anymore, have some kind of explanation for what happened with it. Have some kind of explanation for why he, unless they said it and I just missed it, for why he had this whole kingdom and decided, well, I'm just going to go back to Earth and just be another guy.
Right. in the readings that I did not see anything that alluded to that. So, but we'll talk more about that when we get the readings and stuff
All
like
right.
that. How about you?
over.
All right, that's all right. It's fine. Gary, you're up next. What don't you like?
Yeah, I think it's the inconsistency of how they write the character. You
Mhm.
know, it's like a lot of characters, there's a template for how to write them. You know, there's a house style. With this one, I don't know if anybody's ever written it down. what his origin is, how he should be, how he should talk, how he should react. It's just it's all over the place. So, that's why I think maybe I like him better when it's thank you, Booze. That's why I like it better when they kind of pigeonhole him with the other British heroes, because at least then it seems like they have a tighter way to write him. But you're right. You forget he's a scientist. And even though it's kind of corny or cheesy, I liked when Sir Percy was a part of his life.
Yeah, when
he had that connection.
Right.
Yeah, when he had the connection to Sir Percy. I love when the characters have a history like that, and the Blade has a history like that, and Sir Percy was a noble knight himself, a knight of Arthur. And I love the callback that you could get every time you would see him to that series in the 50s by Stan and the Neely. So I miss the Sir Percy connection.
Very good point. Very good point. All right, then let's go ahead then and jump to our next segment, which is top covers. And since Jamie's out sick, we hope you feel better, buddy. Gets well soon. We'll see you Saturday night. Gonna send you some meatball marinara subs coming your way, buddy. So that way it makes you feel better.
Will we see him Saturday night if he's hanging out with Sonny all day?
I don't know. We'll see. Well, do we want to place bets? Want to play some bets right now? What are the odds? What are the odds? Let's go to the Vegas chart and see what the odds are. Well, let's show off his stuff that he chose for top covers, since that's what we're on. There is Jamie. Yep, it looks like is that issue number 5 on the left? That's nice. That's a good one.
That's Sir Percy there.
Yeah, that's Sir Percy there.
That's Joe Manili. That cover looks very familiar since I used it.
Yeah, that's not Dane. That's issue 5 of the original series. One with Sir Percy, which I think only went.
I don't blame him. That's too good of a cover not to.
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. All right,
and gives love to Joe Manili, who was a great artist.
Indeed. As that middle one is Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade, number 1. Looks like a variant cover as well. Looks like that's cover 7. Jeez. But yeah, that's a pretty cool cover as well. I like that. And even though I'm going to just digress a little bit here, I originally really liked the Ebony Blade story, Curse of the Ebony Blade storyline, but then after hearing Dan's input and then kind of rereading it again, I kind of see his viewpoint on it, and I've changed my mind on that. So, but I'll talk more about that later. But the last cover there is Black Knight 1. This is what I was talking about when he was stabbing the symbiont dragon. That's just awesome. That's just, even though the story was kind of with that situation, that was pretty badass. So I love that cover. All right, who we got next for top covers? Dan, top covers.
All right, and I own 2 of them. You can see in the rack behind me.
There you go.
So my favorite one is probably the one all the way on the left, the Avengers 344, with him fighting the swordsman.
Yeah.
I love that cover.
Yep.
The one I have on the rack behind me, it's a little beat up. It's the one that I bought, off the rack when I was a kid. This is an era of the Avengers that people, kind of look down on. I enjoyed this era of the Avengers. It was a little darker. He was the team leader at the time, but I liked it, and I just think that's a badass cover. And the 2 characters on the Avengers that associated with the Avengers that fight with swords, it just makes perfect sense that they would have them going at it.
Definitely, that's pretty awesome. That's the only path. Yeah, they do, Boosh. You don't lie.
The middle one, that's from his. Now, it's not, I'd say Black Knight Volume 2. It's not Black Knight Volume 2 because you have to consider the original series from the 50s,
right,
and follow-ups to that. So technically it's not but under the Dane Whitman Black Knight, it's the second miniseries that he had.
Right.
This is the issue 1 cover. I love that cover. The painting on it. The ebony blade where you see the red, like from the blood kind of going up. The blood or the energy going up on the ebony blade. You could see that kind of red in his eyes. That's such a striking cover to me. And you kind of see the skulls in the background and the weird world kind of stuff there. To me, this is a very movie poster-esque kind of cover.
Yeah. I could almost feel the wind in that one.
And then, and then the one all the way on the end, it's the variant cover for the King in Black one-shot. I just think that's badass. The classic Black Knight. He's on the horse. He's had a few different horses. I think this is the one. I think the black one was Strider. It's either Strider or Valinor, but I'm pretty sure it's Strider.
I think you're right. I think it is Strider.
With the bat wings.
Yeah. And I just, that's just, a great cover. I love the colors in the background too. This is the only cover of the 3 of these I don't have. I have that book, but I have the A cover, not that variant.
And I like the symbol with inside the A.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. All right, Gary, you got yours ready? Are you set?
Yep. Let's see. 2 of the ones you already seen.
Yep. Definitely good ones.
All right. The one on the left, come on, that is so good. I wouldn't mind owning that. I'd like to own one of the issues of that Black Knight Atlas series, so maybe one day. But that to me, that cover right there by Manili is just fantastic.
It is.
So I love it. I love it coming right at you, and just that's I think that's from. I want to say that's from 55 or 56.
Oh,
but, so good.
That's an old one.
And that series only lasted 6 issues.
Was it 6 issues?
So, or 5. It was 5 or 6. Maybe it was 5. But it was quick. It was a short series. Issue 1 of that's a pretty cool cover too. Then as Dan had, the 344 is just such a great cover, and that's by Steve Epting and Tom Palmer. Love it. Again, part of the reason why I picked that was because that's Marvel's 2 epic swordsmen going at it.
Yeah.
So, we're seeing, and the other of the 48, 7, Dane Whitman had an appearance. That's a pretty cool first cover appearance right there. So I liked it. It was George Tuska, not Buscema, but it's still. I love how the horse is coming at you. The lance, the way he's holding the lance is a little iffy, but I love having the Avengers being scattered around him. And this was really a low point for the Avengers because at this point they only had 3 members. It was just Hawkeye, Wasp, and Goliath. All the other people you see as the floating heads had left at that point. And then in 49, Hercules comes back. And that adds a little bit, or 49 or 50, Herc comes back. But it was where the Avengers were down to just those 3. So it's cool to have the Black Knight shake them up a little bit. And 52,
Black Knight didn't join. He didn't join until 71. So that was, 23 issues later.
Yeah, so you had Hercules come back, and then for a little bit. And then you had, in 52, you had the Black Panther join. So that bolstered the ranks just a little bit.
And then cool Vision shortly after this because they had
57, 58. He joins in 58. Yep.
And I always liked Black Knight. I always liked his friendship with Hercules too.
Yes,
that was an underrated. Friendship.
Very true.
Agreed.
All right, cool ones. Let me get to mine here. All right, where am I? There I am. Boom. So there we go. We got number 48 as usual. I think that's a great book. I got that one slabbed. That's up on the wall right now. So that middle one, Black Knight, this is, like Dan said, it's technically labeled as volume 2, but this was penciled by Buckler, and the inker was Dzingha. Dzingha? Yeah.
Tony Dzingha. Yep.
Yeah, Tony Dzingha. So, love that cover. Also have that one slabbed. That one's nice. That's a nice book to have. And then the last one, the Curse of the Ebony Blade. This is a Ron Lim cover. So that's a nice variant. I love the way you got the monster in the background. He's there in the fighting stance.
Yeah.
He's got, it's just pretty badass to me. So
And I love the in the middle one. I love the corner box, the Black Knight that's in drawing that's in the corner box by Buscema.
yeah, that's pretty cool too.
Yep, and the logo on there is the original Black Knight logo. It looks like
Yeah.
from the
Mhm.
50s.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so those are my covers there. So before we jump into the next segment, I'm gonna first give a little self promotion and talk about the comic book awards. Head on over to cbcawards.org. Check us out. We are nominated in several different categories, which I'll show here really quick. Best live stream. Look at those people we're up against. My God, those people are amazing as well. And we're up for best informative content for subscribers between 1,000 and 2,000. So we're up some tough ones there as well. And then best live stream for also that 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers. So that's our Saturday night show, Comics Unleashed. And then best entertaining content for like hauls, unboxing, reviews, stuff like that. But also the 1,000 to 2,000 subscriber range. And look at that. There's some good people in there. Council of Comics, gosh, Who Dat Comics, Kingdom of Nerds. That's just some great stations there. And the last one we're nominated for is most engaging host. Look at that. It's me, Sal the Slab Guy here in Codex Station. So go out there and give us a vote for us, please, if you can. There's also a lot of other awards going on that we're not nominated for that has some equally great shows like Mon Comics and Derek Comics as well. Uncanny Derek was it? So
yeah, Uncanny Derek. Yep, Lettuce.
Uncanny Derek.
Richard
Lettuce
Richard
Comics.
Richard Westfall.
And Richard, who's not here tonight? Why is Richard not here tonight? We got to mark him absent on that one.
Oh, another thing I meant to mention too with Black Knight, when you're talking about inconsistency.
Yeah.
It's like the colorists don't talk to each other. Sometimes his chainmail's colored blue, sometimes it's colored silver.
Right. That's true.
They need a Garcia Lopez guide to Marvel like he did for DC.
Yeah. You know what? And you talk, we talk about some characters, being ladies' men in comics like Nightwing and some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Black Knight is, had his share of women. He had, I can't remember the name of her right now, but the woman that kind of worked for him that lived in the castle, and Crystal and Cersei, and
he's a ladies' man.
That has, was it Feruza? That's the one that has Excalibur now, and
chicks dig the guys in armor. Come on.
What'd you say?
I said chicks dig the guys in armor.
Yeah.
All right, very
cool. The guys with the big swords.
All
right, folks, let's jump into our next segment, which is essential readings. Since we are going to show Jamie's here first, let's just pop his title up there. So the Black Knight 1990 series, he did recommend Curse of the Ebony Blade, which I'll say it's not 100% horrible, but I mean, after Dan and I talked about that, I think I could see the inconsistencies that he was talking about that really kind of made it fall off my list. But he also did Avengers Under Siege. So Dan, let's go ahead and talk about yours here. Let me find your card for recommended readings. There you are.
All right, and just to just to clarify, there was some good stuff from the the Curse of the Ebony Blade. That's where that's where I think that was the series where the idea was introduced that if you die holding the sword, then you don't really die, you can come back. But again, like I just the scene in the beginning when the Avengers call him and he gets there and he thinks like, oh, hey guys, and thinks he's kind of back with the team, and they're just like, no, we just called you to kill this mystical creature thing. And the way he kind of like I said, I just feel like he's Spurrier kind of writes him buffoonishly, and like he's not really that competent, and Clearly the guy's written the past three either one shots or the miniseries that he was in, so he must be a fan. But he seems to be a fan that wants to change everything about the character. So how much of a fan are you really? Anyways,
Sure.
So Avengers: The Gathering, that Swordsman cover that comes from that storyline. Again, some people say this is not a great era for Avengers. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I really didn't like was the stupid jackets that they had them all wearing. And Hercules' costume at this time was not
No.
great.
It was
No, what were you gonna say?
It was less than fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. But this was a cool storyline. It was this character Proctor who turned out to be the Black Knight from an alternate reality that was obsessed with Cersei, and she had rejected him. So he's going from reality to reality, for all these realities where Cersei has lost her mind and like wiped out the worlds, and collecting these different these different people that were on the last like surviving Avengers from their world, Swordsman being one of them, to come and fight, our universe's Cersei. So Cersei, and this is where the relationship between Black Knight and Cersei was introduced, and him and Cersei were two primary characters in this storyline, and it's one that ran for a long time because they set it up over like a year or two before they really got into the meat of the story.
Yeah.
But you can get they have an omnibus for it that is Avengers issue 343 and 344. 344 is the cover that a couple of us had. 348 to 375. Avengers Annual 22, which is the first appearance of Blood Wraith, which is his squire that when Black Knight had given up using the ebony blade, his squire used it and then got corrupted by it. And then has the one-shot Black Knight Exodus, where he's back in the time of the Crusades and ties in with the character Exodus from X-Men. And there's some other stuff in there too, but those are the primary parts of the omnibus that are about that storyline, The Gathering. The other one, New Excalibur, The Last Days of Camelot. It's New Excalibur issues 10 through 13. And this is where Sir Percy comes into the future, into our time, takes over Whitman's body, and Whitman was kind of being recruited by Captain Britain to join the New Excalibur and that's another thing too, the friendship that those two have had, in various books over the years has been cool. And all of the these members of New Excalibur get transported back into medieval England to fight alongside King Arthur and then and the knights and Merlin, and it's Sir Percy that's there, and it's Dane that's there too, and you get some more insight into the Black Knight and how Percy actually was not the first Black Knight, but why he is who he is. You get some insights into the Ebony Blade. You get the fight, you get them fighting all the dragons that turn out that they're not earthbound dragons. They're the same race that Fin Fang Foom comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And and Black Knight's a central character to the storyline, and it's got a lot of good stuff in it. And then Black Knight Volume 2, that's the other one for the cover I had. That's where he killed one of the exemplars and then fled and ended up in Weird World and had his own kingdom there, and is having to fight to keep his kingdom from the other the other kingdoms in Weird World, but also having to fight the Avengers when they show up, trying to haul him back to Earth to answer for killing the exemplar.
Okay. Very cool. Good ones, Dan. Good ones. All right, Uncle Gary, got you up next. There you go.
All right, I've got also the Black Knight 1 through 4, Volume 2. Dan went in, Dan described that perfectly. So, what he said.
What he said.
What he said. Doctor Strange 68 and 69. So this is volume 2 of Doctor Strange. Roger Stern wrote it, and Paul Smith did the art. It was really good. And 68 kind of delves into Doctor Strange, and him, investigating the influence the Blade had on him and helping him with that. And then in issue 69, the good doctor needs some help, and Dane Whitman is able to help him. So it was just a nice 2-issue guest starring, in the series by the Black Knight. Roger Stern, really good Paul Smith art. So recommend that. And then Marvel Superheroes 17, which is where Roy Thomas and Howard Purcell, they kind of fleshed out more of the origin of him and the connection with Sir Percy. And it was a standalone tale where they took over that book. So Marvel Superheroes.
I gotta read that one.
17.
Yeah, and that's where he got the Ebony Blade for the first time.
Yeah,
It is. That's where the Ebony Blade was introduced, right? So that's got a lot of historical significance in that book. So we're seeing for that.
very cool. Very cool. Good stories. All right, here are mine. There we are. I also did Black Knight Volume 2, so that's almost a 3 out of 4
Yeah.
for us. Or did Jamie recommend that or not? I'm not sure. I forgot.
No, he did the 1990 one, which I think it's that volume 1 where his body was stone and Sir Percy took over his body, and that made him human again.
Right. That's correct. You're right on that one. Yeah, 3 out of 4 of us recommend Black Knight Volume 2. That's a definite checkout. I went with Avengers 48. I liked it. I always liked the good origin type of or the breakout issue for him. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Let's see. For the last one, I got Operation Galactic Storm. Now, this was a read. I like this one. This is a 19-part crossover. Like Dan said earlier, it was the Avengers, the West Coast Avengers, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Quasar. It was and Wonder Man. I think I also had a book in there as well. So
Yeah.
It was all over.
Wonder Man had a good cover. The Nega bomb going off with him. And
Yep, definitely. So yes, this he's the central Avenger in this role. I really do believe, and he's no longer a supporting character. He's on the front line. He's the respected Avenger. He gets the respect from Captain America because Captain America makes him a field leader. And for Captain America to come to you and say, "Yep, I need you to lead a field team," that shows you right there that he's got the skills. So there's even though there was like tension among the teams, like Dan was alluding to earlier, like Iron Man's team wanted to go and kill the Supreme Intelligence, and Captain America's team did not. Dan keeps his team focused on the mission at hand, keeps his squad focused, and that shows a lot of depth with his character. He's still carrying the Ebony Blade, but but in this event, he uses a lot of strategy and leadership over brute force, proving that he's more than just a swordsman type guy. He's a thinking warrior. I believe in this whole Operation Galactic Storm, I think this kind of elevated his status a bit. It was a little bit of a turning point for him. He's just not a tag along. He's a true leader in this situation. So, I really, it's kind of probably hard to read because of so many issues. But if you want to stick to like the main team issues where you have a lot of Dane moments, read Avengers. I believe it's 339 to 343 or 344, right in that area. Go check out that. That'll be most of his stuff right there. You could go. I think you can even go up to 347 as it wraps up the story in that one. So check out the Operation Galactic Storm. So
no, it ends a little before 344 because
it does.
Right after that is when they started doing. I think that right after that's when they started doing the Gatherers storyline, because that's when Cap kind of leaves the team and Black takes over as the takes over as the team leader.
Okay. All right. So right about the 340s then. We'll say that. Very cool. Good stories there, guys.
Let me look
Next segment is our best writer and artist. Are you checking it up? Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm just
Well, gotta check it out.
because it'll bug me if I don't.
Yep. All right. So
yeah, Captain America, West Coast Avengers, Quasar, Wonder Man, Avengers. It ends in. Oh no, you were right. Yeah, Avengers 347. Yeah, so that's the last issue of Avengers.
I thought so, but that 19-parter, man, that was hard to keep track of what the hell issue was to go next type situation. Just because I don't have the issues, I had to go find them online and read them. I think I read one out of order. I was like, crap, and I went back to the previous part. So anyhow,
because I was reading it as it came out because I remember like I was already reading Cap and
West Coast probably
West Coast Avengers and Avengers.
You were probably reading Quasar too.
Like I was reading all those, but I wasn't reading Quasar, and I think Iron Man had issues in there. I wasn't reading those, so I had to pick up those issues that I normally didn't, so I could get the full scope of it.
Right.
It was a really good. It was a really good storyline, and yeah. So they started the Gatherers thing before that 343, 344.
Okay.
And then they had the break for Galactic Storm, and then they went back to the Gatherers.
Okay. All right. So cool. I had that right.
You were right.
All right. Cool.
That's why you're nominated for best host.
I'm just the most engaging host. I like to interact. Come on. Host with the mostest. That's what it is.
Did you almost call yourself host?
Host. Almost did, but I did not.
You're our host, Twinkie.
But hey, we don't shame here, do we? On the Codex Station. We don't kink shame. All right. No kink shame.
I don't know what kind of kink it is you have with a Twinkie, but
I didn't say anything about Twinkie.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
he's a fruit.
Unless it's the one from Ghostbusters where it's 30. It's a 30-foot long one.
That's a big Twinkie.
That's a big Twinkie. All right, folks, let's move to our next segment, which is Best Artist and Writer. I'll go first on this one, if you don't mind. I chose for my artist Tony DeZinga from the Black Knight volume 1990. I think he's got the perfect fantasy vibe for this series. It makes me feel like he's more medieval and and modern at the same time. So I think he did it the best. And for a writer, I had Bob Harris. Harris. I got to pronounce that right. He did the Avengers in the late 80s, early 90s, but he's the one I think elevated Dane to a central Avenger character for me. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Check it out, man.
It was kind of a follow-up to the Kree Skrull War, like 20 years after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It was a cool storyline. I really dug it.
Right.
Supreme Being is a dick, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So I think he wrote him pretty well because he wrote him both as a strategist and a warrior. So that's where I think his wheelhouse is. So that's who I went with. How about you, Dan? Who'd you go with?
For writer, I had to give some love to Roy Thomas because he created the character.
Yeah.
He's the one that laid the foundation with him, trying to redeem the family's name with,
I like that option.
Being the inventor, being the swordsman. He also introduced him, his connection with Sir Percy, with the ebony blade in the story that Gary had, the Marvel Superheroes, was it 17?
17. Yeah, 17.
And so I had to give, some credit to him, but I also, for my main one, I went with Bob Harris as writer. Because again, like you said, when he had him in the Avengers and Bob Harris for a while, when he had him in the Avengers there, he really made him, that's the first time that he really made him like a leader.
Yeah.
He led the team. And, people look at it like it might not be the best Avengers team, but it was him, Cersei, Crystal, Hercules, Vision, Captain America ended up coming back to it. It was Black Widow. Like that's a pretty good Avengers team. There's definitely been much worse teams. Dr. Druid.
Yes. I hated Dr. And he was a leader, wasn't he, at some point?
Yeah. And then didn't they reveal later that he had like hypnotized everybody and tricked them into making him a leader? And it's basically like if Dr. Phil put on a leotard and a cloak, that's Dr. Druid.
Okay.
That's right. Dr. Druid did not have a medical degree either, just like Dr. Phil.
Jeez.
I like to see him as super. I would like to see, the the suit that he has on, and again, in Gary's figure that the Lady of the Lake gave him when she named him the Pendragon of the modern age. Like, I would like to see, why is he not using that stuff? I wouldn't mind seeing that again. And and I think it would be cool if they found a way to combine the ebony blade and the sword of light into kind of one thing to make it even more powerful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Like a chocolate vanilla swirl cone.
Oh, that's the best one from McDonald's.
There you go.
And then for artists, I went with Steve Epting. I love the way that he drew him.
Yeah.
That he drew him in that era of Avengers. I didn't like that they all had the matching jackets. I thought that was a little. That wasn't a little. I thought that was very stupid, especially when the Black Knight's got the cool knight suit look with the cape, and then you take it away so he can wear a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Though, I like the gritty style that he drew him with. So that's my team there. But if he were to ever go back and do some stuff for Marvel, I think it would be cool to see Jeff Johns write Black Knight. I feel like he's one of those characters that he could do a good job with.
Jeff Johns could write
Very
anything.
Yeah, that's true.
He could write
That's
any
true.
character.
He had a short but good run on Avengers
He did.
before
Red
Bendis.
Mist. Wasn't that it?
Yeah,
Yeah, Red Mist.
it's true.
Crimson Mist or
All
Red
right, Gary.
Mist.
Yeah.
All right. For artists, I also have Steve Epting. So, he just a great look, great classic line look to the character. And then for writer, like Dan, I also want to give some love to Roy Thomas. But then another guy that wrote a lot of those Avengers issue with the Knight was Roger Stern. So I want to give Roger Stern. I think he along with Harris are the ones that cemented him as a really solid Avenger. So so Roger Stern for writing, Steve Epting for art for me.
All right, very cool. Very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it. We have wrapped up this show on Black Knight. Guys, excellent stories, excellent covers, and badass moments, the whole 9 yards. You guys are knocking it out of the park tonight, like as usual.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Ron Garnio, Mark Teixeira.
Mark Teixeira, I think, could do a real good Black Knight.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, then. Let's go ahead and put this one to bed and call it a night. Folks, I'm your
Call
host,
it a
Sal the
night.
Slab.
I saw what you did there. You said call it a
Yeah,
night.
you saw that. Yeah, call it a night. Yep. Right there next to me is Dan DeKelly Art. And of course, down below is the Uncle Gary himself, the Ric Flair of comics.
Woo!
Folks, we will see you next week. Uncle Gary is off next week to watch the game. That's cool, but we're going to be covering Archangel and Angel next week for our character of the week. Don't forget, check us out for Saturday night for Comics Unleashed. And of course, Wednesday night, every Wednesday night is the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we will. Oh, my dog is upset that we're closing out the show. We will see you guys next week. All right.